about cars. The opinions and recommendations about cars and trucks and SUVs are solely those of the commentator and not of CFRB or Standard Radio Incorporated. From News Talk 1010 CFRB in Toronto, this is Car Talk with Alan Gelman. Got a question about your car? We need to talk. Call 416-772-1010. Car Talk. It's a free call on Bell Mobility or toll-free 1-800-561-CFRB.
As I said a moment ago, if you're either in the downtown core or out in the burbs or even out of town, you're listening to Car Talk on News Talk 1010 CFRB. I am your host, Alan Gelman. 30 years of automotive know-how under my belt, so I ought to know how to fix your car. Yesterday at the shop, we had a car towed in, and it had been stolen and, of course, recovered. And due to the age of the car and the costs involved, the person decided to pay for the repairs herself rather than to put it through the insurance company. And when I called to check on the prices once I'd made an estimate, the new parts pretty much exceeded the value of the car. When I called the owner, needless to say, they were shocked too. And I thought, what am I going to do? You know, we're trying to save the person some money here. It's an old rusty car. Do we really need to be putting brand new expensive parts into such a vehicle? I wondered, you know, could we by chance get the parts from an auto wrecker, or should I say an automotive recycling yard? You know, sure enough, I called, and I was quite surprised they actually had them. And, of course, the price was less than half. Woohoo! I was able to fix the car, make some money for the shop, and at the same time, save the customer a ton. I guess we'd call it a win-win situation. On the phone with me, I have right now David Gold. He is the owner of Standard Auto Wreckers in Toronto. David, I'm sure you cringed when you heard me say Auto Wreckers rather than the new title. But I'm sorry, like old habits die hard. And as we move into the 21st century, we all have to take ours and our children's environment a little more seriously. You know, your industry, I guess from the get-go, has been a target. I mean, hey, they used to be called junkyards. But now you guys are actually a positive example of what can be done in terms of recycling, aren't you?
Absolutely, Alan. I'd like to thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to explain ourselves. There is no question that we do have a little bit of an identity crisis, and most people do view us as junkyards when, in fact, you know, we like to be referred to as automotive recyclers and professional automotive recyclers and dismantlers.
Well, I think what you need to do, though, here is, well, like you saying, you know, you're on the show, so you're trying to promote that. But just explain to people, you know, what is the breakdown? I mean, a car comes into the wrecking yard, so to speak. What's the first step to, in a green sort of way, do you carry on?
Well, we identify, you know, the value in the vehicle. Many vehicles we get are traditional end-of-life vehicles due to natural causes. Vehicles that are just not worth it to repair. They've reached the end of their life, and it's time to be processed.
So basically, rust buckets that just weren't worth fixing anymore.
Absolutely, and these are vehicles that we acquire. Basically, the first process is to drain the fluids and make sure that all the contaminants are out of the vehicle. To that end, we take out, you know, the batteries. We take out the mercury switches, which are very important because they can create a lot of damage to our environment.
All right, let me just back up a second. When you say you drain the fluids, I mean, you don't just punch a hole in the oil pan and let her go.
No, this is a whole redefined area now. We have what they call a fluid evacuation system.
Mm-hmm. And how does that work?
This system, we put the vehicle on it. It drains it in such a way that all of the fluids are controlled, and we're able to take these fluids and reuse them. For example, the oil to use to heat and we use them in our furnaces in the winter. All the gas is recycled, so all of our, you know, delivery trucks are running on recycled fuel.
Okay.
And one of the big benefits for our employees is, you know, free gas.
Oh, right.
And, you know, at the end of the day, it ensures that as we crush the vehicle and send it through to be shredded, that, you know, these toxins don't leak out into our environment, which is very important.
Exactly. I mean, the oil, for the most part in the old days, like I guess all that stuff used to leak into the groundwater.
You know, that's a sad reality of, you know, the old-time junkyards and scrap metal type facilities before, you know, the Green Initiative really came to fruition and people knew how to handle these vehicles and how to better process them.
You know, David, a fellow that I worked with many years ago said it was his job as an apprentice to go empty the buckets of oil in the backyard at the gas station.
Oh,
I mean, that's the way it was done. Nobody really cared about it years ago. Okay, give my listeners a short list of what components that you would normally sell off an old car.
Well, you know, as the auto recycling industry has evolved, and of course we have very good processes and so forth now, we are able to utilize technology to be able to understand which vehicles are worth dismantling and making those parts available on our shelves.
Mm-hmm.
To that end, we take the vehicle, kind of take the position, it's just the box that the parts came in, identify which parts on those vehicles have value to our customers because we track everything. So every time a garage calls us and collision repair center calls us, we're able to track the calls and identify which parts that they want and are able to stock those parts, thereby making them available. We have them on our website, and customers can go at any time and view digital images of these parts, and including the prices.
You know what? That's changed tremendously as well. I know from a garage owner's perspective, how many times did you order a part and, of course, it comes wrong? But now, most people have digital cameras, and, I can send you the picture within seconds or verify on your own website that the part I'm looking at is exactly the right part. So, again, environmentally, hey, it's saving a trip. It's saving us some time and money.
Absolutely, and everyone's costs are so great nowadays, and mistakes are really a big problem in our industry, and nobody wants to have to deliver a part only to have to pick it up the next day, and then the customer's vehicle is delayed. So emailing of digital images is something that's done very seamless, and it's been a big enhancement to our industry.
Another issue too, you're talking about the quality or reliability. Do the parts get tested? I mean, how does someone know when they're buying a part whether or not it works?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we have to look at the vehicles that we process. We process a lot of low-mileage insurance salvage, and these vehicles drove to the accident. So more than likely, it had a good engine and a good transmission in it.
So you're talking about not the end-of-life cars. You're talking about a newer vehicle, maybe only 2 or 3 years old, that unfortunately got in a big accident and got written off.
It's right. It reached the end of their life via premature causes, and these are vehicles we bring on our hoist. We have qualified mechanics are dismantling these vehicles, and we're testing them. We're testing them to the tune of making sure, the door window motors work, the radios work, the engine's being compression tested, the trannies to make sure it's going forward and backwards. And to take the fear out of buying our used auto parts, we offer very good warranties, including extended warranties and labor packages, really to take the fear out of buying our used parts.
Now, question, can anybody buy parts, or is this strictly for tradesfolk?
No, absolutely. Our business is open to the public, free to come in at any time, peruse our website, do some virtual shopping, and, of course, professional garages and collision repair industry. We're open to the public.
Okay, you know what? Speaking of end of life, unfortunately, this interview is pretty much at the end of life. Your website is, if people want to check it out?
www.standardautorecords.com, and we're here in Steeles and Markham Road in Scarborough, and we're available 7 days a week for your shopping convenience.
I like that. And the phone number is 416-286-8686. One quickie, though. How come you didn't change the name
to Standard Auto Recyclers? It's a good question, and a lot of our the other industry feels the same way, and we're just so used to Standard Auto Records that
there you go.
We couldn't do it.
Die hard. All right, David Gold, thank you very much. Appreciate you taking the time today.
Thank you, Alan. Appreciate it.
All right.